Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this and where you're watching this from. Okay, this is going to be the stuff before chapter 1, the 2, and then part 1 of chapter 1. Okay. To my very wonderful children, Betty or Beatty, Trevor, Todd, Sam, Nick, Victoria, Vanessa, Max, and Zara, who are the light of my life, the joy of my days, the comfort of my life, the solace and sorrow, my light in the dark, and the hope of my heart. No greater joy than you, and when you have children one day, may you be as lucky as I have been to love and be loved by you. With all my love, Mom, Danielle, Steele. Okay. Chapter 1. The sun glistened on the elegant mansard roof of the cottage as Abe Bronstein drove around the last bend in the seemingly endless driveway. The sight of the imposing French manor would have taken his breath away if the driver had been anyone but Abe. It was a spectacular home, and he had been there dozens of times before. The cottage was one of the last legendary homes of Hollywood. It was reminiscent of the palaces built by the Vanderbilts and Astors in Newport, Rhode Island, as the turn of the century. This one was in the style of an 18th century French chateau and was opulent, handsome, graceful, exquisite in every aspect of its design. It had been built for Vera Harper, one of the great stars of silent movies, in 1918. She had been one of the few early stars to conserve her fortune, had married well more than once, and had lived there until she died at a ripe old age of 1959. Cooper Winslow had bought it from her estate a year later. She had had no children and no heirs, and had left everything she had, including the cottage, to the Catholic Church. He had paid a handsome sum for it even then, because his career had been booming at the time. His acquisition of the cottage had caused a considerable stir. It had been quite an extraordinary house and property for a young man of 28. No matter how major a star he was, Coop had had no embarrassment about living in the palatial home, and was comfortable that it was worthy of him. The house was surrounded by 14 acres of park and impeccably manicured gardens in the heart of Bel Air. It had a tennis court, an enormous pool paved in blue and gold mosaic, and there were fountains located in a number of places on the grounds. The design of the grounds and gardens had allegedly been copied from Versailles. It was quite a place. Inside the house were high vaulted ceilings, many of them painted by artists brought in from France to do the work. The dining room and library were wood paneled, and the boiseries and floors in the living room had been brought over from a chateau in France. It had provided a wonderful setting for Vera Harper and had been a spectacular home for Cooper Winslow ever since. And the one thing Abe Bronstein was grateful for was that Cooper Winslow had bought it outright when he purchased it in 1960, although he had taken 2 mortgages out on it since. But even they didn't hamper its value. It was by far the most important piece of property in Bel Air. It would have been hard to put a price on it today. There were certainly no other houses comparable to it in the area, and anywhere else for that matter, except maybe in Newport, but the value of the estate in Bel Air was far greater than it would have been anywhere else, despite the fact that it was now somewhat in despair. or in disrepair. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.